It's the greatest mile I've seen in decades. Honestly, it's the best milers I've seen for a while.
No, this is a hell of a race. I don't think there's anything not in there, put it that way, that should be there. It's a hell of an interesting clash of the young gun and with the older stars over a mile.
Charles Dickens, whoever beats him, I think will win the race on Saturday.
Charles Dickens!
Charles Dickens is regarded as one of the best, if not the best, of his generation. At 132, he's not only the highest rated 3-year-old, but the highest rated horse in the country. It's a ranking he shares with the older Muthana, and this is where it gets interesting. The two previously met in the Western Cape's premier weight for age mile, the Lomeron's King's Plate. He was beaten on the line by Muthana that day.
Charles Dickens, Muthana, very close!
But now, 6 months later, a different province and another Grade 1 weight for age mile, and the two line up again, with Charles Dickens keen to settle the score. Charles Dickens made his champion season debut in the Grade 2 World Sports Betting Guineas, winning easily when going the 1600. He also beat See It Again that day, who was arguably looking for further, but nonetheless franked the form with a classy win in the Daily News 2000 2 weeks ago.
Charles Dickens is too good! Charles Dickens won it!
Yeah, look, he's come on very nicely from that run. He'd had a nice break going into that race. He'd been out back on the farm, and it was a little bit of a hurried prep to get him ready for that first race up here. He'd only had one gallop going into the race, so it was always a little bit of a concern for me, but he won pretty much in style, and the race definitely would have brought him on quite a bit. He's had a nice gallop here as well, so he's in good shape at the moment, Michelle. He's fresh, as you saw him this morning. He's jumping and full of beans this morning, so I'm looking forward to his run on Saturday. I think he handled the gravel track perfectly well last time out. He's very much a professional when he's racing. He just does things. He hadn't seen the track before. He just takes things in his stride. He's drawn nicely on Saturday. So, there are a lot of things in his favour, and obviously he loves the mile. So, I'm looking forward to, a good run from him obviously on Saturday, and we're obviously hopeful. This is obviously his main mission for the season. He had quite a bit of racing as a 3-year-old, and up in Durban, there would only be 2 options after that, and as I say, maybe none. So we'll just see how he goes on Saturday, but this is his main mission for the season.
Trip of Fortune has come into his own this racing season, winning 4 graded races in the last 8 months. What's more, he's won in 3 different provinces and looks to add a second stakes win in KZN to his growing tally. Gareth Wright has won on him before and is back in the irons.
And it's Triple Fortune who won it.
Gosh, yeah, he's really an improved horse, since he's been gelded, and this past season in Cape Town, he's pretty much won a handful of features. Went up to Joburg, won a Group 1 up there, and travelled over to Durban and won the drill all here. So what more could you actually ask of a horse? He's just taken everything in his stride: the travelling, racing, tracks, everything. He's been a superstar really, and he's really doing well at home here at the tracks at home. He's flying at home. So. You asked me which is better out of the 2. There's not a huge amount between them at home. I would obviously like to think that Charles is maybe a better horse than what he is, but you wouldn't be able to let your guard down at all where he's concerned at the moment. He's really doing well. Also drawn well on Saturday. Loves a mile. I think he'll be a big runner as well, and it'll be interesting to see how the 2 of them are against one another. I hate to have to run them against one another, but there aren't any options, for Triple Fortune. Just unfortunately they have to meet one another, but as I say, they're both doing really well. I'm really happy with their preps, and I really do look forward to the 2 of them on Saturday.
Ricky Maingard has breathed new life into Muthana, winning the Lomeron's King's Plate when going off at 80-1. His first run in KZN, the independent on Saturday drill horse stakes over 1,400 metres, was eye-catching. Coming from the back of the field when turning for home, he ran on to finish less than a length behind Triple Fortune. Ricky, you must have been happy with what you saw.
Yes, we're absolutely delighted. Like I said to you, it was a prep run for this big race on Saturday. Everything went according to plan. He ran wonderfully well, and he took the race very well. And he's in a great shape at the moment. I think we can't get him better than he is at the moment. Obviously, there's the 2 horses of the Basses to try and beat. They're fantastic horses, both of them, and Charles Dickens, whoever beats him, I think will win the race on Saturday. He's a great horse. He's a very sensitive, delicate horse. He's got a lot of ability. I mean, there's nothing new. I mean, he won that race last year, and we managed to get him right again. He had a few problems that we had to work on, but he's in a great space at the moment, and I think we got him at his best, so we'll know on Saturday how really good he is.
Glen Kotzen's Equus champion from last season, Cousin Casey, is making his 4th track appearance in the province since April. Glen, has this race always been part of his program?
In the Daily News, as Grant was about to pull his stick on him, he got bumped and then he had to straighten him up again. Then he took the second bump and had to straighten him up again, and then he switched him in. And he had a soft race, if anything. I mean, he's a big, strong, strapping colt. I was obviously disappointed. I thought he'd win that race. He only got beaten 2 lengths, so it wasn't a bad run. But I thought that was our race for the taking. I really was confident that we would win it. And yeah, we just sat down and I thought about it, and I thought, you know, I want to try a pair of blinkers on him. I want to go straight into the July with a pair of blinkers. So I phoned up Ravi at the 11th hour and said, listen, change of plan. Let's try the Gold Challenge with a pair of blinkers. And then the tricky part was Grant confirmed on something else, in which he was confirmed on Ricky Maingard's colt, gelding. And we asked him, well, what do you want to do? And he said, look, he's got to hold his commitment. It was absolutely fine. But Samanga is waiting. Well, Samanga never had taken a ride yet. I spoke to his agent, and he came out and rode him on Saturday morning. We put the blinkers on him, and we were quite impressed with him. I think that could be the trick. I'm hoping it is, because I think he's just getting a little bit, not lazy. I think that he's taking us on. There's more to come. So hopefully the blinkers are going to make the trick. So we're not probably expecting to win it, but it would be nice if we did. But it is part of his prep going now forward. And then we've got 3 weeks into the July. I think we'll just go really easy on the July gallop, give him a canter to show the people he's well-being. But that's basically where we're going with him.
After putting up no kind of run in the iOS Drill Hall Stakes, Mike de Kock took safe passage back to Gauteng. With a further run, this time over 1,600 metres under his belt, he returned to KZN.
He's doing very, very well. He caught us a little unaware first up, so we had to squeeze another run into him. But Saturday's a bit of a double-edged sword, because I think he's a massive July runner. And one doesn't really want him to run that well all over them and get a penalty, but it's a Group 1. I mean, it's insane to actually even believe that you can think that in a Grade 1, but unfortunately the system is such at the moment. Horses are getting hammered for losing, and I just believe that this whole July qualification log thing needs a serious relook. Be that as it may, that's the system currently. Yeah, as I said, he's coming. He's in a pretty good space, but my worst result is actually running well on Saturday.
It's RASCALLION.
Grade 2 Antonage Rupert Wine Premier Trophy winner RASCALLION was impressive in the iOS Drill Hall Stakes. This will be his second run after a 3-month rest, which also sees him coming back down in trip.
You know, there's no other races for us to run him, and you know, he doesn't qualify to get into the Cup trial, which would have been the ideal race. His merit rating is too high. So you've just got to take and make do with the next best plan, and that is the Gold Challenge. It's an extremely tough field. It's a top field, and it's not ideal to bring him back in distance. But he's a very versatile horse, and it's all part of the preparation for the July. So, yeah, you know, his work has been really good, and we're just holding thumbs.
Winner of the Hollywoodbets Gold Challenge in 2019 is the evergreen Do It Again. He went on that year to win the Hollywoodbets Durban July and since become the most successful horse in the history of the race, winning twice and placing 3 times in 5 starts. He's prepped over the mile, finishing a length behind the winner whilst conceding 3 kgs.
Do It Again, a cracker in third.
Look, he's actually very well, I must say. He's right up there where I've had him as good as I've ever had him. Obviously, this is not the aim. A couple of years we never ran in this race because of the penalties you incur. At 8, this is his last, well, we think it's his last swan song. You never know with him. we decided, well, let's have a go. So I do think the draw will play into issue. Greyville is renowned for draws. We'll have to drop him out from there, so he'll be at the back of the field. There's nothing we can do. We just have to take our medicine. It's either that or you're running wide or you're over racing. So we're just going to use it as a race to bring him on for the Hollywood Durban July, which is obviously his big moment. But he's very well, so you never know. He's in that mood.
Yeah, I can see that.
Candice's two at the handicappers weight for age terms are absolute penalty kicks if you look at their ratings to the rest of the field.
Yeah.
So in theory, we're all running for the minor places. He's incredible. So we expect hopefully what will be a good run from him.
ZAPATILLAS has been sparingly raced since winning the Grade 2 World Sports Betting Guineas last year.
ZAPATILLAS, I'm not going to split them.
When stepping up into open company, he then showed to be 5 lengths off the best in 2 Grade 1s and a Grade 2, but ended off the Cape Summer season close up to Pakaya in the listed Jetmaster Stakes. That form's been proven to be legitimate, with Pakaya having recently won the World Sports Betting 1900.
ZAPATILLAS is in fine form back at home. He's absolutely floating. His work's been exceptional. He's been improving by the week, and I couldn't be happier with where we've got him going into the Gold Challenge. Obviously, there's the likes of some tough horses in the race, some young 3-year-olds as well as some older 4-year-olds, but he's in fine fettle, this boy. He's doing very well at home. Obviously, the barrier gate isn't going to be on our side, but I think he's going to be a very big run on the day, and he must be respected.
Besides Charles Dickens, the only other 3-year-old in the race is the progressive Royal Aussie. He's won 4 from 10, having not missed the frame in any of his starts.
And Royal Aussie into the closing stages is going to get the better of Fire Rally into second.
It's going to be a tough one for him, make no mistake. He's at a point in his career where we think he's done a lot in that, he's earned a fortune for the owners, he's run in the right races. Where do you go? What do you do next? So this is the step up. I do think he'll run a creditable race. He obviously hasn't seen Greyville. I don't think it'll be an issue really. He shouldn't have much problem on a right-hand turn, but those are all things that you have to factor in. And it does complicate things, make no mistake. There are horses that run well there. Yeah. Will he? Who knows? At the weights, we're literally running for middle of the pack. But he is well. I'm very happy. He flew up. He's in a good state of mind. We've done everything we possibly can. And just hoping for a positive run and then decide where to go with him after that.
Grade 2 Allied Steel Road on a mission charity mile winner BINGWA is game, but looks held by Trip of Fortune on his runs in the Grade 1 HF Oppenheimer Horse Chestnut Stakes and Grade 2 IOS Drill Horse Stakes over 1400.
I ride BINGWA in the Gold Challenge. He's drawn 8. Obviously not the best draw in the small field, but I think it's going to be a race that's all dependent on pace. I think if it's a true run race, BINGWA is most effective over a mile. He ran a fair race in this race last year, coming from a bit off the pace. But he looks in good shape at home. He took his last run well, which was the Drill. Obviously they went a crazy pace up front and he finished very strongly. So I'm confident that he's going to run a good race. Obviously we've got Charles Dickens to beat and a couple of others, but just looking at him and on his well-being, he's in a good space.
It's a very good field, a very competitive field. Muthana and Charles Dickens and Trip of Fortune, they're top horses, and you've got to give them those kudos. They're just wonderful horses, and I think it's going to be a spectacle on Saturday.